Hey. Well, I will say good morning. It's Patrick, prayer, praise, and of course, it's a brand new day. It's a Tuesday, and like I say, every so often, I would like to, reflect on things that God has done. Might be a whisper, an encouragement, a cheering up, a quietening of the spirit. But this time around, I think about 2 days ago, I happened to be going through my phone, and iPhone has a feature that on a certain anniversary, yearly or every 2 years, a picture that you took 2 years ago or so is posted, or any picture that you might have worked on. And 2 days ago, God served a picture of that I took at Heathrow Airport, I think about maybe 5 years ago, when I missed my flight and I was stranded at the airport. And the story behind the being stranded and the fact that God had indeed had a plan and a purpose for my being stranded was so that I could be part and parcel of joining hands with a security guard and helping a lady from Nigeria that their son had put her on a plane from Manchester to Heathrow Airport. She didn't speak English, she didn't read, and Heathrow, even for us who can read, who have navigated, traveled, Heathrow is an airport all by itself that you need to understand, comprehend, and it's not an easy airport. Go there to have my connecting flight to the U.S. from Kenya. Decided to watch the planes land. I looked at my ticket, and I thought I was sitting close to my gate for my connecting flight. And apparently, I happened to be at the wrong gate. By the time I realized my flight was on a different gate, my effort to run to catch up was too late. Got to the gate 10 minutes to the plane being closed, and the crew decided they were not going to allow me on the plane. But for some strange reason, I had a peace about it. I wasn't perturbed, disturbed about the fact that I was at the gate. The gates were still open, but I was not allowed on. Anyway, so I was instructed to go to a customer service counter and arrange for connecting flights for the following day. And apparently when you actually miss a flight, and I guess with the airline that I was on, they charge you for that. When I showed up at the customer service, the person could kind of see that I was kind of perturbed a little bit, so he said, "I am going to help you. Don't worry. Don't find out. I'll get you on a plane for the following day if you don't mind." And that was done with no charge. Now the next question was, what do I do for the rest of the night? I have relatives in London, so I was about to call, but then I discovered the person that I was calling, in fact, it's a nephew and the mother. They don't live close to the airport, and he apparently works at the airport and had just been on duty and had gone for training. So I changed plans and decided I'll see what to do. So I decided to, of course, go hang out this time around at the gate at which I'll be catching my connecting flight. But they have a rule in Heathrow Airport that if you're connecting on a flight and you can't book yourself in a hotel, they move everybody from different terminals and locate them to one place to spend the night. That happened, and when I got to where I was supposed to, I guess, spend the night, I met, I think her name was Edith. This is the lady that their son put on the flight from Manchester to connect at London. She was completely lost. And there was this lady, she's, I think, from Pakistan, or anyway, Asian. She was the security guard that was responsible for making sure, number one, we have a place to stay and also stay in the space allocated for us to spend the night. So as we are there, I'm trying to catch sleep, and she's paying attention to this Nigerian lady, Edith, because she can tell she's disturbed. She also missed her flight to Lagos. So she tries to see if she can help. She realizes there is no communication whatsoever because she doesn't speak English, she doesn't read. And the lady looks at me and goes, I don't know if she asked me, "Are you African?" I said, "Yes, I need help." And of course, she needed help to see how we could help Edith. And we realized the fact that she couldn't read, couldn't speak, it was going to be a challenge. But I decided I have dealt with refugees, I've worked with people that don't speak English. So I just made it, let's make it simple. I say, "Can I have your passport?" She gave me a passport. "Can I see your ticket?" She gave me a ticket. I say, "And do you have a number of your either son?" So she goes, "I don't want to call my son because he'll be upset if you call." So what do you mean he'll be upset? He'll be upset. Say, "Let me have your son's number." So called the son, got the details of who she was, where she was going, and I committed myself. There's no way I am going to let her deal with the following morning to try and get the connecting flight, because she was completely clueless. So I told the security lady, "Don't worry, we'll work this together." She was going off duty, I guess, maybe 6 in the morning. So the plans were, when she leaves, I told her, "Don't worry, my flight is maybe an hour after. So I'll make sure that I book her on a connecting flight and we'll move from there." So she looks at me and she said, "You know what's so strange? I have another security guy from Africa who works with me, and when I'm in a bind, somehow he comes through for me, and I call him Moses. That's not his real name. So he said, 'You know what? You are my Moses this night.'" And the gist of the story is the following morning, I was able to help Edith. I booked on a flight to Lagos, got my flight to the US, and God confirmed that my missing a flight was a divine planned incident. It was not a mistake. God had work or a mission or a responsibility for me to take care of. That took it taken care of, that was that. And everybody asked me, "Can you explain, how do you miss your flight and you are right next to the gate of your flight?" I said, "That's a very good question. And when we get to heaven, we can have that discussion. We'll call a committee in heaven and we'll ask God how that was that all these things gelled." And there was this lady from security guard from India. There was Edith that missed her flight, and so on and so on. Anyway, so yesterday, 2 days ago, that's who, it's her picture, our picture, the three of us at the airport, that was served to me by my iPhone. So I decided to, just share that as my part of my posting on Facebook. But as I did that, I had this urging, prompting. Why don't you check with your nephew, since he works at Heathrow, and just tell him to see if he runs across that face to connect, to get you the contacts, because I'd lost the contacts after I upgraded my phone. And he responds almost immediately. He says, I work with her. And the next statement, what a small world. So I sat there in amazement that it's indeed a very small world. That here is God prompting me to post my encounter from 5 years ago. Then later on, God prompted me to check with my nephew, and to give my nephew a responsibility to see, or if should it happen that he runs across somebody with that face, to introduce himself, and hopefully from that introduction for me to get connected again, because it's an amazing testimony. And the response was, I work with her, so I'm going to be connected. And of course I told him, make sure you get me updated pictures and all that and all the good stuff. Anyway, why am I sharing this today? I'm sharing this because in the Old Testament, after the children of Israel left Egypt, and after they crossed the Red Sea, and as God guided them to the journey to their promised land, he gave them an instruction to do with memory. And he called it a memorial. And the first time they served a memorial is after they crossed the dry Red Sea. God asked the priests to gather 12 stones, of one for each tribe, and lay it up, I guess, in the dry sand of the Red Sea. And he said, as a memorial, those stones they were never going to see those stones again. But then from that point on their journey, if they had an encounter, a battle where God won a victory for them, whatever the incident was, God gave them instruction about establishing a way to remember, memories. And the way he did it is they would gather stones wherever the event took place, and the stones would be piled up, and the statement would be, so that when your grandkids and the people that come after you come and encounter those stones, that means these were not small stones, so you can say they were big boulders. They would be able to recount what took place at that place. So I had a very interesting encounter after my nephew. We got into a discussion and connected with my nephew. He wrote me a text and he said, Uncle, I notice you have been posting a lot recently. Are you okay? And you see, the reason he's asking that, at my age, as a senior, he's young. I mean, I'm 72, going to 73 this year. So we have lost relatives. He lost his father at a young age. Rather, the father died, and others have died, and so on and so on. And in our African traditions is, quote, the signs of either we are coming to an end is when, quote, we start remembering, we start sharing memories, we start recounting. So to him, he put the two and two together and he said, this is kind of strange. Let me check on my uncle. Is there a reason to him doing so many postings of the past, the memories of the past, not the current? So I had to reassure him, this teenager is good. In God's grace, I am good. But again, like I said, I served him a memory that awoken something in him that, of course, was for him it was kind of worrisome. Is there a message that my uncle is serving? But the reason I'm a photographer, a historian, so I've taken pictures for over close to maybe over 50 plus years. And out of the experience, when we had a fire incident in the house and we had to park and everything was packed and the house was cleared, the privilege that I say, when God says all things work together for good, everything was brought back in boxes, other than the furniture that the movers came and were able to set them, pack them, or purchases that my wife did of whatever needed to be replaced. Everything else was in boxes. So we have been back for since March. So a little bit over maybe almost 3 months. So my daughters, my wife had gone through the boxes. And I had boxes that I had packed, but the rest of the boxes that had my stuff that were packed by the movers are not touched. So this past week, the 4th of July weekend, or the week coming to that, my wife and my daughters went to visit with my other daughter in Baltimore. So I decided, you know what, while they are away, let me take advantage and go through the boxes to see where my stuff is, because what the movers did is they numbered them by rooms, but on all the boxes they put my wife's name. They didn't necessarily, because when they were, I was out of it, so when they were packing, I didn't want to have anything to do with it. I was out of it. So all the boxes had my wife's name, what room they were from. So I had the house to myself, and as I unpacked, I came across pictures that, if nothing had happened, the chances are I might never have come across these pictures again, some of the pictures that I came across. So I, as a photographer, since the young people nowadays, they take their pictures, and I hate to say, until that occasion comes when you are wondering, how did so-and-so look? Does anybody have pictures of so-and-so? Anyway, of all things that I treasure the most is I treasure pictures as a photographer. And I always tell people, when there's a warning and you have enough time of a burning house, I always tell people it might seem very, very strange, but the first and the foremost things that the family wants to rescue are their photo album, pictures of the family. And, they say everything else can go if we can salvage the photos of themselves, of their parents, of grandparents, and so on and so on. So I guess what I'm saying is, in the Old Testament, God asked the children of Israel to use boulders as a help to jot memories, to reflect on memories. in the age and time we live, we are really blessed. We have cell phones and so on. But when I started photography way back over plus 50 years ago, it was film, and I have a lot of negatives that I have yet to transfer digitize. So I will be doing more memory. But I have a responsibility, therefore, to share the memories that I have been privileged to capture in my photos. I have photos of going back to over 50, 40 years. I have photos of people that are long either gone. So whenever I post, I get wonderful reactions. People are blessed. So I guess in short, I'm saying God used a photo that I took at Heathrow Airport, that I recorded an occasion that he planned for me to miss a flight so that I could help Edith catch a flight the following day to Lagos. And I recorded it with a picture. And this is 5 years after. The iPhone served that picture 2 days ago, so I posted it as a remembrance for me of how God works. But then God went a step further, and he asked me to see if I can reconnect to this memory by asking my nephew, who happened to work at Heathrow Security, to, when he's on his duties, maybe, if he can carry the picture around, and if he sees the person that the picture represents, to let me know and let the person know. So the miracle is they are co-workers. They work together. So his response is a small world. The journey of people that walk with God can actually appreciate that response. It's a small world, because now God has brought him into part of the miracle, part of this memory. And I remembered I was telling him the other day, he's a filmmaker. So I told him maybe he needs to do a movie, Touched by an Angel, and title it. And he said that sounds like a good idea. So don't be surprised if you see Touched by an Angel from Heathrow Airport, from my nephew. His name is Simba Masako. So Patrick, prayer and praise, wants to encourage you, to remind you as a photographer, start looking for these pictures that are misplaced in a shoebox somewhere, and do a digital. And that simply means take the pictures and use your phone and photograph these pictures so that you have them on your phone, and then you can, with AI and all other stuff, you can actually start writing a family story, family tree, whatever. Number two, that should be number one, find a photographer. And when I say find a photographer, everybody knows, the assumption is, since I can use my phone to take pictures of myself, blah, blah, I'm a photographer. Well, you might be, you are, it's good that you do that, but guess what happens? Once you have posted that picture on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, that picture disappears and is buried with the other 10,000 that you have on the phone, and it's gone. But if you go and find yourself a photographer, and when I say a photographer, somebody like me, my daughter, and so anybody that does photography, that's who they are. Have a portrait of yourself, of your family, down, and then do yourself a favor. Like God, it was an instruction from God about a memorial. A photograph, a picture that is not framed is, I hate to say, is a crime. Every home ought to have a framed family pictures hanging on the wall as a family heirloom. And if you're looking for a framer, professional framer to frame your picture, you can look for Frame and Framers in Melbourne. It's 12 Main Street, Melbourne. As for Gina, tell them I send you. If you can get to Gina, find a framer and have your portrait, family, yourself, framed as a family heirloom professionally. Have it hanging on the wall so that whoever walks by the picture will give you an opportunity for you to remember. And when you remember, you bless. When you remember, you think forward. That picture becomes, if you so wish, a seed of planting the future, hope, encouragement. You remember the past, where you came from. So, I want to share this by saying, Patrick is a photographer. Prayer, God reminded me. And because he reminded me, now I have a nephew that has a story to tell. And now this lady, and like I said, I had a contact phone number. I will get the contacts. We will connect and we will reflect. But the amazement is, how did God work it out that I actually work with your nephew? So we are going to move from being total strangers to people that are in a family that is totally uniquely picked by God. Meaning now when I travel through Heathrow Airport, I can call ahead and I can be received like a very important person. So, God also says, we who lived in the time of grace, grace means the cross, but God also says the Old Testament were written, recorded, saved with a purpose so that we can learn from the past, so that we can be encouraged, we can be warned, we can be instructed. So, memories are important, and visual memories are important. The children of Israel did not have photography for them to remember. So God decided, I will allow your brain to become the framed family heirloom, but the jotting, the item that he used to jot that was that pile of rocks. So I am going to conclude by blowing my trumpet. I'm a very good photographer. I have a daughter who is a very good photographer. I know a lot of good photographers around. Pay that money. You might say, why should I pay somebody if I can take my own picture? What you see when you take your own picture and what somebody else sees as a photographer, I'll blow my trumpet. I see more of you as the person that I'm taking a picture of that otherwise might be dismissed by your own picture. I've had people calling me who have not seen me in 40 years, 30 years, wondering, would I by any chance have a picture of them going back to then? So, there's something very divine, instructive. God wants us to remember, and that's why we partake of the communion. As often as you do this. So, for you, I want to tell you, your memories are divine. Your memories are a bridge to powerful ministries. So, safeguard them, build them, nurture them, but frame them. So your kids and grandkids and grandkids can be told of you, about you, when you're either long gone or while you're here. So be blessed. Again, this is Patrick. Prayer, praise is not midnight. And why it started as a midnight prayer, Patrick prayer, praise, and midnight was when I was cooped up in the hotel. My sleep patterns were off, completely off. So I had to do something with my midnights, and God made sure to remind me, did I do anything that needs to be broadcast? So my starting Patrick prayer and praise is my way of being prompted by God to share that which He has done. So here I am sharing about memories, Old Testament lessons, New Testament learning. Do as often as you do it in remembrance. That are the instructions when we partake in the communion. We weren't there when He served that communion, the first communion. We weren't there when He hung up on the cross. We were not there when He rose from the cross. But He left the Holy Spirit to help us live in divine moments with great hope that He's soon coming back. So be blessed. Love you. I'm outside sitting in my van, enjoying the good morning sunshine. Bye-bye.